Welcome to a very special episode of the Motorhome Matt podcast. We're 100! Hooray! Yo! Who'd have thought when we were sitting in front of a black curtain just, a year and a half ago with one microphone, a cup of Bovril, and we had to wear flip-flops, didn't we? We recorded the first episodes of the Motorhome Matt podcast. Now look at us.
Look at us. Look at us.
We're rock
our own rock stars. Well, we got our own studio. We were in the shop. It was being decorated and painted, wasn't it? And hence the black drapes. We weren't in some sort of weird.
No, we had to
padded cell.
We had to face a soft surface, so we
did,
like
yeah.
an echo chamber.
Yeah, gosh, yeah. It's come on a bit since then. And we've got a few listeners now as well, which is great.
Oh, loads! Over 100,000 on audio and another 100,000 on video. That's 200,000. That's amazing. Thank you so much. And we're up there in worldwide podcasts, aren't we?
Yes, I don't know what number we are this week, but we were certainly in the top 200 globally, which is amazing.
There are 2 million podcasts up, by the way.
Oh, it's more than that.
Just to let you know.
Yeah, more than that. Certainly within automotive anyway, we were, I think, 190. So,
there you go. Can't be bad, can it? Thanks very much. Okay, episode 100 is the Motorhome Matt podcast with me, Keith Gooden.
And me, Motorhome Matt.
And it's brought to you with thatleisureshop.com. Today we're asking the big question, the one that gets people quivering. What is van life?
Do, do, do.
Oh, is that?
There it is.
Is it as controversial as what's wild camping?
100 episodes in and we still haven't got a flipping clue.
No. When we asked about wild camping, the tectonic plates shifted, didn't they?
Oh, the world moved.
It did indeed. So
Thunder.
What is van life?
Well,
Cheers.
It's a very good question. I'm still trying to work it out. I think it's different things to different people. And so I thought, right, I'm going to ask a load of people what they think van life is.
And we're going to hear from them.
Yeah.
First of all, though, it's episode 100. Did I mention that? We're at the NEC, 17th to the 22nd of October. We're all going to be up there. We're going to be recording some podcasts live as well. Please come along, say hello, take a selfie, shake our hands, and you never know, you might get a freebie.
You might.
You might, or you might not. Matt's on the expert advice panel every day.
Yeah.
How do people get tickets?
Very, very easily. Go to mcshow.co.uk, enter the code MMAT and get a discount on your ticket.
Oh, Muck Show.
Muck Show, yeah. It's that farming show in Birmingham again. Interesting. It's sold out. It's every year now. It sells out on certain days. So as we record this, there are tickets available, but undoubtedly, I'm sure, we'll sell out again over the weekend. So don't hang around.
Undoubtedly, that's my Scottish accent.
Undoubtedly.
Go to mcshow.co.uk and enter the code
MMAT.
It's as easy as that. We're at podcast stand 9.32B. We're right at the entrance of Hall
9.
There you go.
There's a clue in the stand number.
Speaking German again.
And don't forget as well, that leisure shop are there, the Maypole at that leisure shop stand. We will be selling a range of security products, motorhome and caravan covers, whole load of battery and electrical products as well for your motorhome or caravan. So go and see those guys as well.
Fantastic. What is your product of the week with thatleisureshop.com?
Oh, well, it's got to be, at this time of the year, Control. This stuff is genius.
With a K?
With a K, yeah. You'll shake your control at me. That's an advert. So this stuff will absorb the damp. It's called a moisture trap. And you buy these little plastic boxes and you can buy the bags of top-up crystals. I think there's one behind me if you're watching on YouTube. And you just top the boxes up and it avoids getting damp in your motorhome. So it genuinely does absorb all the water in the air. I've been keeping them through the winter in some of my cars, the ones that break down, you know the ones.
Some of his cars.
Yeah, they're really old and cheap and broken. But putting these in, they go really mouldy in the winter, and this stuff's amazing. I thought it would never work. Blooming does.
How much is it?
Well, this little pot here is $2.49.
Cheap as well.
Yeah, so they're literally pounds, £5, £10, depending on the size of the little pots you buy. But these little ones are great for inside the cupboards and wardrobes, because if you don't leave the cupboards open, the moisture and condensation is going to build up. And these really do a great job. So, yeah, we sell loads of these at this time of year.
Damp is your enemy in a motorhome or caravan, or even a van, which we're talking about today. It is the Motorhome Matt podcast. I'm Keith Gooden.
And I'm Motorhome Matt.
All brought to you in association with, sponsored by, all the other bits and pieces, thatleisureshop.com. The main bit of the podcast today. What does van life mean to you? What are the core principles or values that define van life? It's somebody who lives in a van, isn't it?
Maybe. For some people, that's true.
Are you van life, motorhome mad?
That's a good question. I would say on the basis that I don't live in my van, I'm not van life, but I do partake in van life and I love it. So I go away in our van. Now, we happen to own a motorhome that's built in a van. It has a sliding side door. So it is a van conversion. Some people would say, well, if I was in a coach-built motorhome, I can't be van life. It's a motorhome life, not a van life. It depends how you define it. And do you know what? I think this has become a little bit emotive. I've seen people almost getting bullyish with this. And it's got quite nasty in a few corners of social media where people cast aspersions that you are not van life or you can't be van life because, and lots of different reasons. And I was intrigued as to, well, what is van life then? I live in a bricks and mortar house, very proudly, love it. We have a fantastic view and I love our house and I love our campervan as well, or motorhome, whatever you want to call it. So it's a relatively new term. I think it was born out of Instagram. And I think is it fair to say younger people that started using the term?
Is it fair to say people who don't want to be associated with the traditional view of caravanning and motorhoming?
Could be, yeah, that could well be fair to say, yes, certainly. And possibly a term that's been embraced by those who perhaps want to opt out of traditional motorhoming, and they're certainly not a caravanner. That's a phrase that we've used before, isn't it? And it feels a bit like an opt-out phrase where people are opting out of the traditional way of life. So perhaps they've given up bricks and mortar and are living in a van that they've converted or had converted. You know, put a mattress in, some cupboards, a sink, and shove the chimney up through the roof. You've got a van. So that's van life. But I think there are others who are in a factory-built motorhome, like me. And if I want to say I'm van life, that has to be okay. Is that not okay?
I don't know. That's what we're going to find out today. But it's a new term, as you say, driven by Instagram, hashtag van life. It looks to me like it is another generation coming into the fold, passionate about van life, motorhoming, could be even caravanning. But like I say, not wanting to be associated with the traditional view or some of the rules. You know, you've got to park there, you can't do this, you know, your awning's too much there, you haven't done your grey water properly or your black water. Isn't it just people saying, just leave me alone, let me get on with it. I'm going to go out into the countryside. I'm not going to do any harm. I'm going to leave no trace, but I'm not part of your gang.
Yeah, and that may be true. And actually, surely, if this adoption of the term means more people are doing exactly that, embracing nature, going exploring, and perhaps opting out of the traditional rat race, there's nothing wrong with that, surely. That's got to be a good thing. The Camping and Caravan Club launched their Outjoyment report. It was last year, you remember, last October 2022, and the scientists proved that engaging with nature was really, really good for our mental health. So surely van life in that respect has to be a good thing. We went around and started asking lots of people, Instagrammers, YouTubers, people that live in their van, people that live in a house and have a motorhome or a van. I asked a whole load of people, what is van life to you and how do you define it?
Lindsay Evans is the digital marketing manager at Quirky Campers.
Hi, it's Lindsay here from Quirky Campers and Camp Quirky. Van life can mean so many different things for different people. It's an escape from the day-to-day grind, the 9 to 5 routine that most of us live by or think we need to live by. It's everyday adventure. You can jump in your camper, head off to wherever you like, even if you've only got a few hours, and really make the most of your day and make something of that time that maybe usually would just, go by being part of a normal day. It's a chance to reconnect with yourself without any distraction or stress, and even better, it involves reconnecting with nature most of the time as well, which can have incredible benefits for your health and well-being. And also, it helps you realise what you really need in day-to-day life. It makes you think twice about all of the material things you may own, and really bring focus on the fact that you really don't need a lot to be happy and to function. And less is more, and that is a huge benefit to van life.
So that's Lindsay's view, but she's talking about anybody who's got a motorhome, who likes camping or goes caravanning or is a van lifer, isn't she?
Quite well, absolutely, yeah. And why not? That's why not. I asked Kat Bird from Wandering Bird Adventures, the solo female living in a van. You can find out more about Kat at wandering-bird.com. I said to Kat, what's your view? So I'm here in the studio with Kat Bird of Wandering Bird fame.
Hi.
What is van life to you? What does it mean to you?
Do you know what? This is kind of growing as a bigger and bigger topic of conversation. I think initially hashtag van life was you lived in a camper van down by the river and you didn't have a shower and a toilet on board and you lived a very sort of simple life. I think now it's growing to incorporate certainly anyone who lives in a vehicle van of some. So I live in my motorhome full time, and I often call myself van life. But I think I use the term van life more because that's what people know, rather than I would tend to use the term motorhome life, but it doesn't have quite the same sort of connection. So when I'm talking in an email or one of my blogs on the website, I might use the term van life to mean motorhoming. But I still think a lot of times it does mean campervanning more than motorhoming.
Yeah, so without some of the luxuries of a motorhome.
Yeah, I think it just is more the van part of it. So I think there are a few festivals where people with a motorhome such as myself might not feel particularly like they should be there. And I think there have been a couple of Facebook groups, I think one with women with a van where people with a motorhome like, oh, am I allowed in here? And there's this sort of differentiation between a motorhome and a camper van.
Yeah. Do you think there's a stigma then to those that are in a motorhome? They can't be van life.
I think there is you can't be van life if you have a shower and a toilet and a comfy bed on board. But I also think that there's enough of us who are like, absolutely, you can. But the same thing as with wild camping or wild parking or whatever you want to call it. If you don't do that, you're not really van life. And I think there are some people who are very accepting of anyone. And I think there's a certain type of person who lives in a van, no matter what van or motorhome it is. And I think you can accept all of those. And then there are some people who are very much, no, it's campervanners only and only those of us who live off grid. And I think, there are two sides to this argument. But I fall on the inclusive one.
That's Kat Bird of Wandering Bird Adventures, www.wandering-bird.com. That's wandering-bird.com. She summed it up, didn't she, really? When you turn up some places, you're not feeling welcome because you're not part of, as I mentioned it before, the gang.
The gang, yeah, absolutely. It's not inclusive. And I just think that's really sad. I mean, for me, van life has to be about inclusion. It has to be everyone. If you think you're van life, you're van life. I don't think there should be criteria.
But Kat made a good point there. If you've got a mattress and a, big cooker in a bathroom and all the rest of it, it's different from living out of a van, isn't it?
Was that hotel life on wheels? Yeah, but why can't that be van life? Kat lives in her motorhome and it's factory built and it has all those home comfort. She thinks she's van life. She's van life.
But for the people who are passionate about it, for the pioneers of van life and not motorhoming or caravanning, haven't they invented something different?
Yeah, possibly. Well, I asked Siobhan Daniels, the author of Retirement Rebel. Shove on, shove off. Siobhan's had a whole career at the BBC and is now retired. And I guess she's at a whole different chapter of her life to the likes of Kat, and asked her view.
Hi, Matt. Sorry I've taken so long, but this is my thing for living in my van. What does living in a van mean to me? Well, it means freedom. It means I can be the mistress of my own destiny. I can go where I want, when I want. Also, I'm not bogged down with all the bills of paying mortgages and all the electricity and gas that I used to pay. So it enables me the freedom to live life the way that I want to live it.
There she is, the lovely Shove On, Shove Off. Go and check out her book, Retirement Rebel. Thanks, Siobhan. That was brilliant. And Siobhan does live in her van full time. In retirement, she sold her house and she's travelling the country, having a whale of a time, opening all sorts of events and attending all sorts of writer retreats and speaking at shows. She's living the dream.
Steve Radford, he's the head of a family that holidays in their van. They're at Roaming Radfords. They're quite famous in the motorhoming and caravanning world, aren't they? He's got something to say about this.
What is van life? We look at van life like a movement, like a community. But some people can look at van life and compare it to full-time van life, which we certainly aren't like that. What's your opinion?
We've never been full-time van life. I would say that anybody who lives in a van, full, part-time, travels in a van, and by van I mean a van, a bus, a motorhome.
A car, a tent. That's the thing. Van life is inclusive, isn't it?
Yeah, we've never really come face to face with anybody who has said we're not part of the van life community, because we also like to support the van life community as well. It's not just about us being in a van all the time. I think the community aspect is really quite important.
That's what it is. It's community. It's inclusiveness. It's whatever. You can be in a tent. You can be in a car. You can be in a big motorhome like us. But everyone is included, and we all love to go out in a field and just talk about the things we love.
So that's the Radfords. Something struck me there when they were talking about it is everybody can be everything to everyone. It doesn't matter who you are. You can have any sort of vehicle and you're a van lifer. But you're not, are you? Because van lifers are usually doing it on a lower budget. They don't, as we heard from Kat, have a fantastic double bed which they can disappear into every night. It is different, and isn't the difference a good thing rather than everybody crowding around a new phrase and saying, I'm one of them as well. No, I'm a caravanner, I'm a motorhomer and a van lifer. Why can't people just be different and accept that?
Yeah, they can. And Steve mentioned tents. I mean, that's an interesting twist on it, really, isn't it? If you go away in a tent or a tent box, I mean, tent boxes have become really popular, the tents on the roof of your car. I saw them originally years ago, thought they'll never catch on. Wrong was I. They're an affordable way of getting away and having a camping experience with some comfort. Does that make you van life? According to Steve, it does. I suppose if you want it to make you van life, why can't it make you van life? And this is the point, really. This is why I asked the question, is, well, what is it? I mean, it's inclusive, and I agree with Steve wholeheartedly. It absolutely should be inclusive. I think it's about a community of people that come together to do something which is really special and generates loads of lifelong memories. And it shouldn't be an exclusive phrase. But it's interesting when you start talking about people in tents, that they can be van life. Interesting.
Jenna and Kath lived in a van and travelled as a family of 4 at Slowly Wilding.
So my name is Jenna. I am one part of Slowly Wilding. We are a family of 4 that have lived full-time in our van for 2 years now. And we're currently converting a big Mercedes Vario library bus to be our family home. I think that van life is the community and it's the freedom. It's the freedom to be able to live the life how you want, whether that's full-time, part-time, whatever. It's the freedom to be yourself and decide how you live, where you park up, what your days look like, and go on adventures with your family. That is what van life is to me.
I suppose if you see somebody by the side of the road or in trouble with a flat and you're in a motorhome or caravan and somebody's in a van, are you going to drive by and not stop and help them?
I'd hope not. Surely not. That would go against the ethos of van life. I mean, the thing that's coming across here is it's about a group of people that actually want to embrace life. And van life, I think, is it just that transitional step into freedom that you find by going out into nature? Is that what it's all about?
Is it about marketing and PR people and finding somebody else that they can direct their skills at?
Yeah, possibly. Well, we're guilty of that here. So we use the hashtag vanlife in all our social posts. So does that make us users of the term for our own gains and benefits as marketeers?
Well, I would hope that we give lots of information about which is useful to van lifers. You can't please all the people all the time, can you?
No, you can't. No, you can't.
And Guy and Joe are the founders of Van Love Fest.
Hiya Matt, it's Guy.
And Joe.
From Van Love Fest here. One of our taglines for Van Love Fest is freedom of life on the road. And I think that epitomises everything we love about our motorhomes. The fact you can jump in them, head to a certificated location like Betley Park up here in Shropshire, or a myriad of other places, even parking on the side of a road just to go to the toilet. That freedom is what it really is about for us, and we absolutely love it. Hope to see you on October the 7th at Vantoberfest in Chelmsford. Keep up the great work on the show, Matt, and we'll speak to you soon.
It's the Motorhome Matt podcast with me, Keith Gooden.
And me, Motorhome Matt.
And it's brought to you with thatleisureshop.com. Today we're delving into the phrase van life. Who are van lifers? What is it? Are caravanners van lifers? Are motorhomers van lifers? As been suggested earlier by one of our guests, are people who live in tents van lifers. You're saying it's all encompassing. Other people have said that as well. I've postulated the theory that maybe it's not all encompassing, that it's something new.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think it is new, yes. But what is it? And who does it include? And is it exclusive? And who cannot be included in it?
Hi, Matt. So my name's Ash. I'm the co-director of off-road events. So we do the Adventure Overland and Campervan show at Stratford-upon-Avon. What van life means to me? It's kind of like the best of things, isn't it? It's the freedom and the friendliness, and best of all, it's Mother Nature. There's no better cure for any of your ills, really, to be with Mother. That's it for me, really.
Hello, Tom McGuigan here from the Adventure Overland and Campervan show, Stratford-upon-Avon racecourse. Van life, what does it mean to me? Well, it means getting into nature, and very lucky I've got a four-wheel drive, which is an old 1975 Range Rover Classic ambulance cum camper. And with that, you can get anywhere. Even going to a show in England, the rain comes on grass. If in a two-wheel drive, wheels are spinning. But so my advice, for what it's worth, if you're going to go out and buy a camper and you're just starting out, if you can afford it, then go and buy a four-wheel drive. There are good second-hand ones out there. You can buy VW Transporters or Sprinters, more expensive, but, great vehicles. So get out there and enjoy it. Cheers, Ian.
First of all, we heard from Ash McGuigan, co-director of Off-Road Events Adventure Overland Show. Then her husband, Tom, from the Adventure Overland Show. So there we go. We're a long way down our guests, and we haven't really answered many questions. I suppose the last word should go to one of your, favourite guests. He really does tell it how it is when it comes to van lifing and motorhoming, particularly his toilet habits.
I think if you had to guess who this was and you knew him, you'd get it right. Yep, we invited Darren, the Urban Motorhome, to give us a comment. Darren was here recently recording a podcast with us. And Darren lives in his motorhome and famously resides in urban areas when he's parking up. And his motorhome is not small. So Darren, tell me, what is your definition of van life?
Definition of van life? Oh, I don't know. It's a bit of a fashionable term, isn't it? Technically I am van life because I live in a van. So
you live in your van full time. Surely that gives you permission to be van life?
Yeah, if anyone is, then but then there's people out there that would consider motorhome not van life because I haven't built my van. I think it's a term that can get a lot of heat for, I don't know why. People can be like, you didn't build yours, you just bought it. It's yours is just, you just have money maybe, or you just didn't build it. So some of them consider themselves van life that have only built theirs. Me, I think it's like just a fashionable term that gets thrown around quite a lot.
So you think it's a term that can only be used by those who exclusively have built and converted their own van?
I don't, but they do. A lot do. I think.
But what's your definition of it then?
I don't know. I really don't. I'm just a dude that lives in a motorhome. I am van life is. I like it to be anyone that does anything with vehicles. I would like to just include everyone. Yeah, because that is a community then that everyone can be part of. Everyone could be, everyone's got stories. Everyone does things different ways, so that works. It's when people then start subdividing it. Oh no, there's criteria to be in this. There's criteria to be. Oh, it's just a bit. Is there any need for it? Does it really matter? Does anyone really care? Does it change anything? No. just do what you want to do.
So that's Darren there, quirky as always. He's a solo male living in a van at the urban motorhome. Catching him on YouTube if you can. Certainly a character in the industry, but he does tell it like it is. Like I said before we introduced him, Matt. So, you were in Dusseldorf recently. Any answers to the question, what is van life from there?
As I said in that episode, I love the extremes of our industry. And I don't think it matters if you've got a transit van that you have literally thrown a mattress in and fitted out a basic camper environment, or if you've got something like a Morello or a Concorde, and it cost you £500,000. I think if you choose to embrace van life as an overarching label, and let's face it, that's all it is, it's a label. And if you want to be part of that community that comes with that has to be fine. I think if you consider yourself to be van life, getting out into Mother Nature and exploring and living perhaps a pastime that isn't perhaps what we do day to day these days. It's very easy to get caught on the hamster wheel and just get exhausted chasing this kind of hollow dream to then get to an age where you retire and sit down and go, well, that was that then. And then that's it. You pass away.
Waiting for Godot.
Yeah, exactly. What a waste of time.
But if we magnify, if we focus in on this as well, some people, what with mortgages going up and changes in lifestyles and the cost of living crisis, could be forced into van life, and they're very different, aren't they?
Absolutely.
From somebody who has a passion for a hobby.
Yeah.
Living like that is very different to driving your £500,000 motorhome back to your bricks and mortar house and then planning your next trip in a couple of weeks' time.
It is different, but why can't it come under the same overarching phrase of van life? Why does van life have to exclude either end of that market? What was interesting in Germany as well is the boom in the number of adventure vehicles, and they look like they really could go off-road. I mean, some of the tyres were massive, nearly as tall as me, really kitted out for getting off-grid. And I looked at them and thought, wow, that's van life right there. And they're £500,000 as well, and they're aimed at a market that's booming and has money, but considers itself to be perhaps part of this phrase and this label and this community. And I think what's most important of all is that it should be a phrase that includes everyone that wants to be part of it. We're all sharing this planet, we're exploring this planet in different ways. Some of us have greater means to do it than others, and if we choose to give it the label van life, then so be it.
It's the Motorhome Matt podcast. I'm Keith Gooden.
And I'm Motorhome Matt.
It's brought to you with thatleisureshop.com. It's our 100th episode. Way!
We made it.
And it's our Q&A, our question and answers, where you pose the questions and Matt tries to answer them. So far, his strike record is pretty good, 100%. Simon Andrew Woolley got in touch. Do covers have a removable section for the solar panel to charge leisure batteries throughout the winter months?
Oh, very good question. So it depends how much you're prepared to spend on your cover. So for a motorhome or a caravan, there are manufacturers that will custom make a cover to precisely measure up to where your solar panel is on the roof of the vehicle. And you'd be selling it with the vehicle, of course, because it's unlikely you'll get another one in exactly the same spot. There are manufacturers that, whether they're still available, I'm not sure, but where the back third, middle third or front third is unzippable to give the solar panel access to the sun. The problem that I have with those is the wind gets under them and can lift them and move them around. So I think if you've got a solar panel and you want to have it visible to the sun, then you need to look at the higher end makers of these covers, and they will tailor one for you.
Caroline's in Port Talbot. That's how you say it. Port Talbot.
Port Talbot
in Welsh, Wales. What was the form you mentioned in you're preparing for travelling in Europe? The one you said to keep with your V5 and travel insurance in case of an accident. I believe it was blue in colour, or as they say in France, bleu. Do I need to send it off, or can I download and print it?
Great question, Caroline. If you ring your insurance company, they will send you this accident form. It's generally carried by all European drivers, and they're self-carbonating. So yes, you could download one, but you'd be filling out 2 copies, one for you and one for the third party that you've had an accident with. But your insurance company should be able to send you them in the post. Take a couple. It depends how good your driving is, I suppose. But it's always worth having one and one spare in case you mess up filling out the first one. But hopefully you won't need it at all.
Thanks, Caroline in Port Talbot. James Golder is in Harlow in Essex. He says we've got an Auto Trail Expedition 66 and the water heating on gas is a pain. It lights, then it goes out within a few seconds and keeps doing this until it trips. It trips out 3 or 4 times, but eventually it sometimes stays on. It's a whale underslung system made in Northern Ireland. I've phoned them multiple times and they have given me some places that they recommend. They don't have a ramp as they are call out. I'm hoping you can recommend someone who can sort this out for us. What does all that mean?
So the Auto Trail Expedition 66 motorhome range, in fact the whole Expedition range, in the vans, has come with whale heaters, and these models of motorhomes have been very popular in the motorhome hire niche, and I know many operators that have got them, and most of them are having problems and headaches with these whale heaters. They're not been well received at all. Get it? Well received?
Whale received. Oh yeah, I've got it. I'm there with you. Yeah.
And so lots of them are taking them out and replacing them with other forms of heaters. So the only option I can suggest to you, James, is to go back to the dealer you bought the motorhome from, if that's an option. If you bought it new, it's going to still be under warranty, hopefully, and get them to look at it and sort it. You are not alone. On lots of social media groups, there's people talking about these heaters. They are proving to be problematic, I'm afraid. It's one of those products that just seems to have come into the UK or into the market in Europe and just hasn't really been up to the task.
There you go, James. Hope that's answered your question. Thanks for getting in touch. Anybody else got a question for us? What should they do, Matt?
Easily. Just go to mhmp.info/ask Matt. Click that little orange button and you can record your question. We love including the audio in the podcast. Please tell us your name and where you are in the country. Or you can fill out the form if you'd rather not record it and we'll try and include it and read it out for you.
That's MHMP as in Motorhome Matt Podcast. You get it? mhmp.info/ask Matt. And you can leave us a review as well. What do people do for that then, Matt?
Go to mhmp.info/review. Easy.
Well, it's our 100th podcast, and I suppose we have to ask you to do a bit of sharing.
Yeah, we would love that. If you think this has been useful, this episode or the other 99, we would love you to share it with a friend. The audience is really growing, and we would love to spread the word further. We've got to 100, Keith. Should we carry on?
I suppose so. Hang on a second. What's this? It's just arrived in the post. It's a letter from the King.
Telling you to pack your bags?
No, you're 100, it says. And he's asking a question about gas.
Unsurprisingly. I wonder if he knows what van life is.
Yeah, I wonder.